The Sixth Doctor was played by Colin Baker from 1984 to 1986, lasting from the tail end of Season 21 with the Twin Dilemma, Season 22 and Season 23, spanning an era of just 2 short years. 6 is a complete contrast to the Fifth Doctor. Whereas 5 was soft and boyish, 6 was brash, loud, arrogant, and didn't give a crap what you thought of him, which in turn was shown in his costume. Now if you saw the pictures of him, then you'll know that he has what many consider the worst costume. Personally, I see it as the Doctor not caring what you think of him, so he'll wear what he likes. Plus, I totally wear that costume everywhere I go. 6 encountered many old enemies, such as the Daleks, Cybermen, the Master, and the Sontarans, but there were also new notable enemies as well, such as the Rani, a female Time Lord scientist with no ethics or care for the humans or aliens she experimented on. But arguably the most memorable new monster of his era was Syl, a slug-like creature known as one of the Mentors who engaged in unethical business schemes across the galaxy. Both these villains I think are great, and I really wish they'd make an appearance in the new show. 6's era was plagued with behind-the-scenes problems, as in February 1985 the announcement came that Doctor Who would be off the air for 18 months, with a new series coming in late 1986, but with a reduced episode count. Fan reaction at the time was so strong that it put the BBC off cancelling it for good, but also in response came Doctor in Distress. No, don't play it again! Thank you. At the end of 1986 came more shocking news. Colin Baker was fired as the Doctor, having only just spent 2 short years as the lead role. However, that doesn't mean he had brilliant stories, and now let's count down his 5 best stories of mine. Number 5. Vengeance on Varos. Do you enjoy reality TV such as Big Brother, I'm a Celebrity, and a load of other mindless tripe they put on TV? If you answered yes, then you'll probably like Vengeance on Varos, a world where political prisoners are subjected to sadistic torture and executions, which are used for public entertainment. The Doctor and his companion Peri arrive on Varos seeking the rare mineral Cyton 7 to repair his TARDIS, but end up being caught in the games. This episode has interesting commentary on video nasties and political satire. For example, the governor of Varos gives his intentions as leader, and the viewers at home can decide whether or not he's tortured if they don't agree with his views. Only we could do that to Theresa May. What's also brilliant in this story is Nabil Shaban as the aforementioned Syl, as he's more or less a corrupt businessman with fractured speech, bad eating habits, and an excellent laugh. He's easily the best original villain in the Sixth Doctor's era. There's also some nice meta-humour with the characters of Arak and Etta as they watch on their own TV the action that goes on within the Punishment Dome, almost like a chorus you'd find in a Greek play, or any play in general. But they also show how they've accepted their miserable existence and don't even pity the poor victims of their system. And when the story ends, they just don't know what to do. Kind of like me after the 50th anniversary. Now there is a controversial moment among fans when the Doctor supposedly pushes 2 guards into an acid bath. If he did do that, I'd be the first to admit it, because I have no problem with the Doctor killing when necessary, but the quip he makes at the end is a bit much for me. It's more something James Bond would say, not the Doctor. However, with interesting commentary, a great villain, and meta-humour, Vengeance on Varos is a claustrophobic and acidic, in more ways than one, highlight of the Sixth Doctor era. Number 4. Mind Warp. This story is used for evidence for the Trial of a Time Lord season. The Time Lords place the Doctor on trial for interfering in the affairs of others, like they did in the War Games, and use this adventure as evidence for his guilt. The Doctor and Peri arrive on Thoros Beta, a world with pink sea, blue rocks and green sky, where the Doctor and Peri encounter Syl again and other members of the Mentors, whose leader Kiv is awaiting an operation from a scientist named Crozier to transplant his brain into another body. The Doctor seemingly betrays Peri after his mind is affected by a mind-screwing machine, and begins to help the villains, while Perry forms an alliance with King Yrcanos, played by the legend that is Brian Blessed, to overthrow the Mentors. This is one of the more surreal stories of Doctor Who, as the script goes from comic to horror to the grotesque, but oddly it works in its favour in my opinion. Not to mention the sets, lighting and effects are brilliant for the time, as the cave sequences look wonderfully atmospheric due to some effective strobe lighting, and the effects for the colourful forest beta may look garish by today's standards, but at the time I think viewers had never seen a world looking that alien. The supporting cast are also great, as it's probably the collection of the most hammiest actors ever assembled. Nabil Shaban as the childish Syl, Patrick Rycart as the mad scientist Crozier, Christopher Ryan as the ill Kiv, and Brian Blessed as the bombastic King Yrcanos. But what I really love about Mind Warp is how we question the Doctor's actions, simply down to his own curiosity. Puts his insanity, Perry, and the course of evolution in danger. Perry's exit is brilliantly done, as her mind is taken over by Kivs in the story's climax, and Yrcanos is forced to kill her by the Time Lords to stop evolution from taking the wrong course. However, there is a cop-out happy ending that is revealed at the end of the story. Now it's more or less up to the viewer which one they prefer concerning the fate of Perry. Personally, I prefer the mind taken over by Slug death ending, cause that's me. With great design, characters and performances, Mind Warp is a memorable, if problematic gem in a troublesome season. Number 3. The Two Doctors. Patrick Troughton had so much fun working on the 5 Doctors that he asked to come back again, to which the producer, John Nathan Turner, agreed to, and Fraser Hines, who played Jamie, was also keen to return, as he was now free from Emmerdale. The second Doctor is kidnapped by the Sontarans, misguided scientist Dastari, and 2 androgams known as Shockeye and Chesini, and bring him to a villa in Seville so they can operate on him to find his symbiotic nuclei, so they'll have the power of unlimited time travel. Usually with multi-Doctor stories there's an occasion for it, like an anniversary. With the 2 Doctors though, there's no reason other than you're bound to bump into yourself when you travel through time as much as the Doctor, which kind of bugs me, but it doesn't stop me loving the 2 Doctors. The 6th Doctor and Jamie work brilliantly together, and they even reunited on audio adventures. Plus it's brilliant seeing the 2nd Doctor again, and this would be his and Jamie's final appearance on Doctor Who. The location work is also great, as they went to Seville in Spain, and the location looks really nice, and it's so much better than being in a freezing quarry in Wales. Although I do feel for those poor actors in those boiling rubber Sontaran costumes, and it's a shame that the costumes themselves look pretty rubbish. There's also fun satire on eating meat with the androgam Shockeye, who makes it his mission to eat a human. The writer Robert Holmes would usually write about stuff that pissed him off, and being a vegetarian, he obviously wanted to write about the drawbacks of eating meat. This story also introduced the best piece of fan fiction I've probably ever seen, and it's known as Season 6B. The 2nd Doctor in this story claims to be working for the Time Lords despite being on the run from them during his era. However, it's theorised that before he regenerated, the Time Lords got him to do missions, and the Doctor agreed to, but also requested Jamie's assistance, hence their appearance and behaviour in this story, as they're both fully aware of the Time Lords and they're doing missions for them. Now the theory's not perfect, but it makes about as much sense as the story does without it, and personally, I firmly believe that this is canon. With funny dialogue, great location work, intriguing new villains, and the best Doctor and companion returning, The Two Doctors is a healthy diet for all of us. Number 2. Revelation of the Daleks. You may be surprised when you hear this, but this is my favourite Dalek story, even above stories such as Genesis of the Daleks, Remembrance of the Daleks, The Parting of the Ways, Dalek, etc. The reason for this is how morbid this story is, because if you know me by now, you'll know I'm a sucker for that stuff. Davros has installed himself as the great healer on the funeral planet Necros, but he's using the humans in suspended animation to turn into Daleks that are only loyal to him, and using the weaker humans to turn into food, effectively ending famine in the galaxy. This story is filled with dark humour and excellent dialogue conveyed brilliantly by the actors and the characters, as this is one of the best supporting casts in the show's history. Orsini and Bostock are great as the assassins sent to kill Davros by Kara and Vogel, who as businesswoman and secretary there's a lot of subtext to their relationship, which I'll let you figure out. Grigori and Natasha as the body snatchers who want to find the truth of Tranquil Repose, Takis and Lilt as brutish security men, Jobel and Tassenbeker, Jobel being the arrogant playboy and jilted lover that is Tassenbeker, who wishes to be accepted and taken seriously, and finally the DJ who entertains the dead while in suspended animation. This is easily one of the more grotesque Doctor Who stories, as we see a human head inside a Dalek case, which is pretty disturbing to look at. Furthermore, it's superbly directed by Graham Harper, with brilliant lighting and very inventive camera angles that adds atmosphere to the sets. The music by Roger Lim is also sublime, putting good use to the synthesizer. Doctor and Perry do seem to take a back seat to the action, but that doesn't bother me as they still steal every moment they're in. With an excellent supporting cast, sublime direction, wonderful dialogue and morbid atmosphere, Revelation of the Daleks will forever be my favourite Dalek story. Number 1. Attack of the Cybermen. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. Really? The continuity wankfest story? Get better taste, Isaac. Now, not only is it my opinion, but this is also my favourite Doctor Who story. Now, for those of you who are still here and haven't left your screens in disgust, just hear me out. The Cybermen plan to use a time vessel to hijack Halley's Comet and crash it into Earth in 1985 so that their home planet Mondas can live in 1986, while also destroying the surface of their adopted planet Telos to wipe out the native Cryons. This story is filled with callbacks to the past, such as the destruction of Mondas from the 10th planet, Cybermen in the sewers, a la the invasion, and the ice tombs of Telos, a la Tomb of the Cybermen. This is a shopping list of cyber history, but this doesn't bother me too much, as the continuity references are well placed in the story without feeling distracting or out of place. Furthermore, it sees the return of Lytton, a mercenary who last met the Fifth Doctor when he was working for the Daleks, in Resurrection of the Daleks, and Maurice Colburn, who plays him, is brilliant here, as he's not exactly the best person in the world, but he'll want to see the Cybermen destroyed if it means he'll escape from Earth with the alien race known as the Cryons, that originally inhabited Telos before the Cybermen wiped them out. Maybe Lytton just has a thing for fish people with long fingernails and bubble wrap cat suits. Attack is also filled with violence, which did get criticism, but it's there to show the severity of the situation, and it showcases how strong the Cybermen are as they shoot people and torture people with their bare hands. They torture Lytton, they grab his hands until his bones crack and his fingers bleed. This story is awesome. The Cybermen are just on top form here in my opinion. The Doctor and Perry are also brilliant as they do their fair share of investigating, and one of Colin's best moments as the Doctor is his misjudgment of Lytton, and I think showcases Colin's brilliant talent as an actor. What I also love is how the story shows the horror of cyber conversion, as we see humans with cybernetic limbs and who are on their way to becoming Cybermen. It looks horrific, but it fits with what the Cybermen should be like. The direction by Matthew Robinson is also really good, as with the location work, he's able to make your average quarry look like an ice planet with clever use of muted colours, plus the ice tombs also look and feel like a giant fridge with the dry ice, and again, really good use of muted colours. The music, while many would find intrusive, is also memorable and weird, but also it incorporates the memorable Cybermen March from Earthshock, which is a great theme in my opinion. With an excellent cast, brilliant villains, strong female aliens from the Cryons, and the Doctor and Perry working as an excellent team, Attack of the Cybermen will forever be my favourite Doctor Who story for my own bizarre reasons. Well everyone, that's all from me. Let me know in the comments what your favourite 6 Doctor stories are. Also, we're halfway through the Doctors now, so let's celebrate with some top quality music. No, 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 God please no, no! See you next time.